Hello, fellow traders. My name is Curtis Watt from Beyond Backtesting. I want to share in this YouTube how I'm approaching my trader trials this time, this go around. I can share I've been profitable for 12 out of 12 days, which is very good for me. Very good, doing very well. And I want to share the more than that, which can always change in any given day. I want to share more about the meta strategy, the overall strategy I'm using that I think may be beneficial, the meta strategy, so to speak. And I'm using it, or I can share that I'm using an evolutionary approach. And I want to share some of the specific key elements in my game plan that I think any professional, any serious trader who's trying to become professional, or just trying to trade at a more serious level, trying to get to profitability, trying to price a trial like we are, may want to incorporate. Right? That these are the things that can really make a difference, and how we incorporate them is important too. And I want to compare again and contrast this evolution approach with some approaches that sound good and but we know probably don't work too well in practice. Before I get started, though, let me share. I want to share that Apex Trader Funding is offering a flash sale, 90% off the first month, 8% off each recurring month. Use my affiliate link down below to take advantage of that. It's good through 4:20 midnight. Okay, 4:20 midnight. If you, word of caution, if you don't see the proper price at checkout, I just checked it. It should be live now. I didn't see the proper price. Maybe come back a little bit later and see if it's right. If not, contact support. If it's before 4:20, obviously after 4:20, it may not be available. And I want to share that, in all honesty, most of these trading trial companies are pretty scammy. It's kind of a scammy type of a business. But Apex Trader Funding has really made it better for traders. They're one of the premier, and they really appear to be serious about running all these scammy companies out. And as long as they are, as long as I can see the value in it, I'm giving it a shot. And it's certainly, I'm certainly going to be, I don't care to have an affiliate link down below. I will share that many of the trading, the trial companies that came to me wanted me to become a part of their affiliate program. I said no. I looked at the offer. I said, don't make any sense for any trader to do this, But Apex Trader Funding, it's worth taking a look at. It's particularly if you are at a place where you might lose a lot of money trading. If you can be disciplined in the Apex Trader Funding more than making money, you may avoid losing a lot of money. So, with that said, I want to talk about. I will share also one trade I took today. Okay, so I got the screen up here, mainly to make things interesting, because it's not fun to talk on just a blank background. But we had this yesterday. We pushed up above this range, we were in, pushed way up to here. It was kind of took some people by surprise, and we came back down just to the edge of this range, and then we traded. This is the day we came back down, and then we traded out and to here. And so this was the range I had mapped out, and I took one scalp. My overall methodology is much more frequent, but today was Friday, and again I didn't want to. I didn't have a good sense of what was going on, and so I just waited for this. One scalp, I took it down here in this zone here. It's really hard to see on the charts, in my charts, what this trade was. It was a little scalp off here within one of these bars, and that was it, and I was done. And I had really thought about loading up on this zone, on the top of this zone, really loading up, thinking we might get a real powerful move out of here. But, and I did load up, but as soon as I got filled, I canceled the rest of my orders, and I took the first profit, which worked out because we can see we went deep into this zone. It didn't actually. It was inside the zone I mapped out, but you can see it's right. It's testing it. I actually pulled it forward because it was over here just to make it more clear, and it may have been even closer, but it wasn't outside this zone I had mapped out. And one of the reasons that I kind of said, okay, I'm not going to play with this, was because it's such a big zone, and I wasn't really sure what would happen. And just from the risk perspective. I didn't know how deep we would go into the zone, and that's maybe a lesson there could be a lesson that, and so maybe wait for clarity if we can't define our risk very well, right? So this is the type of trade where you can make a lot on it, and it's a type of trade where you could lose a lot, particularly if you load it up like I was thinking. You got this great trade here, and then they came down here and they made a little lower low, got the stops, got everybody. I'm sure a lot of people were seeing this same type of a trade. and we're really and we're probably forced out of their trade. And that's how trading is. You can see it, but it's very hard to take advantage of. And I've thought about this trade a lot. How I would take this? How would you take this? And one way, just thinking about some different ways, is to take the edge of the zone, tight stop, quick out, like I did. Or another way would be to scale in through the whole zone, stop somewhere outside the zone, right? Much bigger stop loss, or potentially take the bottom of the zone, right? Stop below that. I don't know. I like that because we're already too deep into the zone. Or the trade I really like is once we're in this zone, we've come out of it, we come back into it, and then when we start to come out again, maybe that trade, you get a little more clarity there, or even this retest here, have more clarity. That was later in the day though, so I was already done. So that was the trade, the one scalp the one scalp I seen today. And that kind of leads into, as I shared the different ways you might trade that, kind of the way I'm approaching my trading this time. Which before I kind of share the way I'm approaching it, which is an evolutionary approach. It's an evolutionary approach. I want to share some of the ways the common ways that we hear about approaching trading that probably don't work for most traders, just based on the stats. And one way is they say you come up with a trading plan, you trade your trading plan. That method doesn't tend to work, right? Because unless your trading plan is grounded in reality, and so the problem with that trading plan, the problem with trading your trading plan is the markets can change your plan unless you have a lot of experience, a lot of stats, a lot of data to back it up. It's not grounded in reality. It's not going to be grounded in reality. So as soon as something goes wrong, you're not going to have any confidence. You're not going to have the skill. Okay, so the trading plan thing only works if you're doing a very systematic type of trading that is highly grounded in reality and that you have the skill to execute. So what about trading, with a more discretionary approach? Well, the good thing about that approach is you can develop your skill. The downside is that without adding in a rigorous process to the element, it's very easy to make a mistake or for the markets to change and not to do well. So the third approach, there's two other approaches, right? One is to use a very systematic approach, a very rigorous type of back testing. That can work. That's very professional. But what if you want to use some discretion? What if your trading is in reading the markets and stuff that's more harder to fully systemize, or for whatever reason you don't want to do that? Then this is the approach I'm going to recommend, which is what I'm referring to as an evolutionary approach. And in an evolutionary approach, I'm trying to incrementally improve both my trading and my process over time. I'm not trying to do it all at once. I'm not trying to do it all in one day, right? So some of the key elements in my process is I record every session, record the screen and the audio. And so that was kind of already there. I said, okay, I've done this before. I'm going to do this again, record. But now I've added in another element in that I tried to have a very objective reason I'm entering the trade. I can not only will I call it out loud, but I'll also be able to tell you why I'm doing it and what the trade setup is. What I don't necessarily trade setups, but I want to have a very objective way I can track that trade and say this is the type of trade I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. So I'm adding something else into it. I'm not just recording my screen, recording my trading. I'm not just talking out loud. Now I'm trying to give my trades. I'm trying to build a playbook. I'm adding in, that's from the S&B Capital book. The idea of a playbook. It's setups or a strategy. I'm adding in now actual trades. Right. I'm calling out trades, trying to be able to track different types of trade ideas. And the third element to this whole process is trade tracking with tagging the statistics. And I can share that, I do have statistics, and it's great to have statistics through Ninja Trader. The baseline statistics is very good to see, okay, I've been profitable 12 out of 12 days. But, if you're trading more than one type of trade, if you're doing more than one type of trade, then you don't know where those profits are coming from. And that's the problem with just overall statistics. It's easy to do that, and there's some value in it, but it's not as much as if you know the actual statistics of every trade. So it's a lot to do, right? The trade, the recording, trade tagging, all this stuff is a lot to do, and so that's why I'm using the evolutionary approach. And that's kind of the idea, is that each day I improve my method a little bit, I improve my process, and I'm not trying to do it all at once. So that also eliminates some of the stress. Like if you go in and you've not been trading, and you say, okay, I'm gonna use my Excel, I'm gonna log my trade ideas, I'm gonna log my setups, I'm gonna record my screen. You do all this, and you've not set everything up, you've not set your trade replicator up. You try to do it all at once. It's going to be overwhelming, and it's probably going to, if you have, depending on your trading methodology, if it requires a very active type of a reading of the market, which mine does, then you're probably going to be taken out of the loop, right? And it's going to hurt your performance, right? And so this is why the evolutionary incremental approach is what I'm using now. In order to do this, in order to actively for this approach to work, you have to avoid losing a lot of money. And so it's very risky to try this with a real account. It's extremely risky because if you may not really evolve, you may evolve your trading, but you may be losing too much money, and so that's the risk. Now you can do it with a simulator account. That's a very useful way of doing it. But then the question is your simulation accurate? Do you have the discipline to stay with that simulation, not reset it, not do stuff that you couldn't really do? And that's where the trader funding comes in. It's kind of an in-between. It's pretty nice in the sense that you can't cheat, right? Like you could in a sim account. You can't reset it. You can't say, oh, today was I was just testing or playing around. All those types of games, right? And you can track it. And the Rhythmic is a very realistic simulator, which can be important or may not be important depending on how you're trading, depending on your trades are. But that's how I'm approaching it. And the nice thing about this type of approach is that I don't have to have everything perfect, right? And I don't have to have everything planned out. I don't have to know all the answers, and I don't have to give wrong answers to things I don't know, which is if you try to come up with a plan before you have the experience, you're going to be giving wrong answers. You're going to say, I'm going to use a 4-tick stop loss, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it's not based on any type of reality, not based on any type of real experience if you try to do that, right? And so this is the approach I'm utilizing. Again, the other approach that makes sense is you do a portfolio of strategies that you backtest out, and of course, again, how do you know you're backtesting properly? A lot of traders make mistakes with that, and it's very hard to get this type of performance where you could actually day trade within one of these accounts. With most strategies, they don't trade frequently enough, they don't produce enough, so that's the other thing too, right? So that's just how I'm approaching it. It's kind of evolutionary. I'm adding stuff into it as I go. One of my key goals is, again, to be able to do this, you want to be somewhat. You want to be able to manage your risk so that you can trade. And one of my goals I started with is just to trade every day. Even just a small scalp. As long as I'm trading every day, I'm getting used to having my platform set up. I'm getting all these things down so it don't take my trading. So that's kind of to start with. Just try to trade every day. Manage your risk, right? Or use the trials where the consequences of messing up aren't so big. Right, and then to that, I'm adding in, okay, I've been trading every day. Why am I not recording my screen? Okay, you should always be recording your screen. And you may have to buy, the screen recordings get pretty big. So I have some pretty big hard drives that I've already purchased in the past for this very reason. You may need to purchase some large hard drives, some large disk space in order to do this, right? Without it being a real burden, right? So then you start recording your screen. Okay, now you got the second element in place. Okay, now you start to develop your trades. You got a third element. Now you start trade tagging and statistics, and over time that's the approach. So I hope this helps. Take advantage of the Apex sale if you're inclined to, and I hope your trading is going well. And that's all for now.